Do you feel hungry couple of hours after the breakfast? Are you tired all throughout the day? Then probably you are not alone, and probably it is not the fault of your body. Probably the problem lies with your breakfast. As a cardiologist, I see lots of my patients who opt for unhealthy breakfast and they complain of always tiredness, fatigue and constant hunger throughout the day. In today's video, I'll discuss about what are the 5 reasons patients tend to develop increased hunger and they have always fatigability because of the poor breakfast options. Breakfast is the most important part of the meal of the day. So if you do not choose the breakfast option wisely, you can have lots of problem. If it is unhealthy breakfast option, your blood sugar increases, your blood pressure increases, your cholesterol increases, you tend to develop more weight, as well as it will keep you tired and fatigued. But if you choose your breakfast option wisely, then it is gonna give you more energy all throughout the day. You won't feel the hunger for most of the day, and it is heart healthy as well. So what are the common mistakes in Indian breakfast which keeps a person hungry and tired always? Let us discuss about that. The most important thing is that Indian breakfast are loaded with carbohydrate. 70 to 80% of Indian breakfast is carbohydrate. And once there is so much of carbohydrate in the breakfast option, it tends to cause excessive sluggishness or fatigability. How it causes, how excess carbohydrate causes increased fatigability or induces more hunger, we'll discuss later on. So high carbohydrate load is one of the common mistakes in Indian breakfast. Next common mistake is minimal fiber. Fiber is essential for our body because fiber keeps us full. Fiber keeps us satiated. But Indian breakfast actually lacks significant fiber. So that is the second common mistakes in Indian breakfast. Third, Indian breakfast also most commonly lacks the protein. So protein is a substance which keeps us full most of the time. So lack of protein, also protein helps in the muscle building. So lack of protein increases the hunger. So protein is something which is very, very important, which you should incorporate in our diet, especially in the breakfast. And Indian breakfast, although they're tasty, they're crunchy, but most of the time they are empty calories. They are having significant calories, but most of them do not have significant amount of vitamins or minerals. So they are lacking essential vitamins and minerals, and they are basically empty calories. And last but not the least is, especially in Indian food, breakfast food which are deep fried. We love our fried foods because they are tasty, they are crunchy, but they also have unhealthy fat, and that unhealthy fat is deadly trans fat. And trans fat is very, very dangerous for our health, especially for our heart, because trans fat can lead on to damage of the cholesterol and directly can cause heart blockages. So these are the 5 reasons which keeps ourselves always hungry and fatigued for most of the day, because our breakfast options are having all those problems, because they are high in carbohydrate, they lack protein, they lack fiber, they are poor in nutritionally essential vitamins and minerals, and they have excess amount of deadly trans fat. So why do you feel the hunger after taking breakfast, or why do you feel fatigue? What is the reason behind that? The reason behind we have persistent hunger and persistent fatigability is because of our sugar level. Once our sugar is more or less flat, as shown in this continuous glucose monitor, we do not develop hunger, or our energy levels are maintained all throughout the day. But when we take excessive amount of carbohydrate in our diet, what happens when you take excessive amount of carbohydrate in our diet? Our sugar level raises, and our sugar level raises significantly. Along with the sugar, our pancreas also secretes insulin to bring back the sugar to normal level. So once we take an excessive amount of carbohydrate in our diet in the form of various sugary breakfast, our sugar level increases and it reaches a peak. So in order to bring back the sugar to normal level, our body secretes insulin. And insulin, what it does is that it decreases the blood sugar. And most of the time, that insulin decreases the blood sugar even below the baseline level. So what happens when the sugar level falls? And usually it falls after a couple of hours of a breakfast. So once somebody has taken carbohydrate heavy breakfast, their sugar level increased. Along with their sugar, their insulin level also increased, because insulin tries to bring back the sugar. So insulin level remains elevated for a longer period of time. By that time, sugar level has fallen significantly low. And this low in the sugar level in the blood actually promotes hunger. So somebody will feel once again hungry after a few hours of taking a carbohydrate heavy breakfast. And not only hungry, they will feel fatigue also because of this sugar crash. So whenever you are taking carbohydrate heavy breakfast, because of the sugar elevation and subsequently sugar crash, you will feel more hungry after a few hours and you will feel tired. So that is the reason behind we tend to feel hungry after a few hours of breakfast, and you tend to feel tired also after a few hours of breakfast because of the heavy carbohydrate load in our breakfast, as well as lack of protein and lack of fiber and other essential minerals in our breakfast. So that is the main reason behind we feel always hungry and always tired even after a good breakfast. That is not the only reason when we feel excessive hungry and excessive tiredness. Another reason why we feel tired is that since our diet is loaded with carbohydrate is actually required. Sugar, glucose is required for the generation of energy. Our body, our cells have an energy producing substance, energy producing organelle known as mitochondria. Mitochondria is like a powerhouse of our cell. As in the powerhouse which produces electricity, the mitochondria in our cell also produces energy in the form of ATP, and this energy helps us maintaining our day-to-day activities and all our activities. And mitochondria produces the energy and by utilizing the glucose. So glucose is being used as a fuel to make energy by our cells from mitochondria. So glucose is useful, as you might say that from glucose energy is being produced. So how come excess glucose causes fatigability? Because excess glucose causes mitochondrial dysfunction. Although glucose is required for the mitochondria to produce energy, but once we feed too much of sugar to the mitochondria, mitochondria gets dysfunctional. They cannot function properly. It is something like for our vision, we require light. Without light, we cannot see properly. But if excessive amount of light is being shown in our eyes, we tend to get blinded by the lights. So something like that. So excessive amount of sugar in our blood causes mitochondrial dysfunction. So mitochondria fail to produce energy. And once the mitochondria fail to produce energy, we tend to get excessive amount of fatigability because of excessive carbohydrate in our diet. So excessive amount of carbohydrate in our diet causes excess fatigability because of mitochondrial dysfunction, and as well as because of the rise of sugar and followed by a sugar crash, as we have discussed previously. So that's why in our food, especially in the breakfast, the mitochondria should be, our carbohydrate should be less, especially simple carbohydrate should be less. So if you want to have a personalized diet option, you can comment below in the comment section to get a personalized diet option as how to improve your diet, so that you do not feel tired always and you are not always hungry, and as well as it is cardiac friendly, as well as it will keep your sugar under control. So if you like our channel, like our content, kindly subscribe to our channel and press on the bell icons. So in summary, what is the ideal breakfast option? Ideal breakfast option actually should be comprising of 5 things. One is it should be low in simple carbohydrate, as we have discussed all throughout the video. Second, it should be high in protein. It should be having enough fiber into the diet. They should be packed with various vitamins and minerals. as well as there should be zero trans fat. So if your diet, especially carbohydrate, especially your breakfast, has all these features, then you can have a very healthy breakfast. If you like our video, you can follow this video which talks about oats, which oats you can have and which are beneficial for your health.